What's up guys, my name is Ace, and we're well into Season 1 now of Modern Warfare 3, and from the looks of it, we should be expecting the mid-season update within the next week or two. So in today's video, I kind of just wanted to touch base, bring everything together, and share what we can expect to see throughout the rest of Season 1, as well as some of the things that I hope we're going to be seeing once the developers are all getting back into the swing of things after the holidays. Because for a little while now, I've just kind of accepted the fact that nothing's going to be changing over the holidays. This is pretty normal. Usually the devs take some time off and we don't see any major updates over the holidays. So a few things have been sort of piling up and I'm hoping that they can be taken care of. But before we get into that section, let's just go over the things that we already know about. What can we expect going forward for the rest of Season 1? And there's actually something brand new coming tomorrow, and this is Vortex, which is going to be a new game mode on reskinned versions of the existing maps in the game. So we have Satan's Quarry, which is a reskin of Quarry, Tetanus, which is a reskin of Rust, and Spore Yard, which is a reskin of Scrapyard. And we actually got to check this out at the Sledgehammer studio before Season 1 launched, although the embargo for this was yesterday, so we weren't allowed to upload any of this gameplay until now. And while we didn't get to play the unique mode that's meant to be coming, where it's like free-for-all and there's a ray gun that everybody's fighting over, kind of like the golden gun from GoldenEye, for instance, we did get to play some regular modes on these maps, and I think it's kind of cool. At the end of the day, it's just a reskin though, so it doesn't really feel a whole lot like brand new, fresh, playable content, to me at least, but I am definitely curious in that new mode that's coming with the ray gun. So that's coming tomorrow, but that's not the mid-season update. That's not our Season 1 Reloaded update. Instead, our Season 1 Reloaded update should be coming likely next week on the 10th. However, based on recent history in the past few years, it seems like a lot of things often get delayed a little bit after the holidays, so I wouldn't be completely surprised if this doesn't come until the 17th of January. But as of now, I'm kind of expecting it on the 10th. And with this update for playable content, we're expecting the HMR9 SMG, and this is described as a high fire rate SMG with excellent handling and mobility. And then we also have the TAC Evolver LMG, and with this, apparently with just a simple attachment swap, you can turn this from 7.62 to 5.56. So that's great to see. We've got two new guns basically right around the corner for this game. Also, Rio, a brand new 6v6 map, is going to be coming with the mid-season update, so that's some more playable content to be looking forward to. And another big thing that we're expecting at some point throughout the rest of Season 1 is ranked play. And while I expect it's going to be launching as the ranked play beta, we usually see that for the first little bit, it will be really nice to have ranked play available for those that are looking for that style of gameplay and want to actually be rewarded with a rank rather than just having a hidden MMR like we have in regular public matches. And then finally, as far as playable things go that have been confirmed throughout the rest of Season 1, it looks like we can expect Headquarters, Team Gunfights, and Infected. And I know we currently have a version of Infected that's like a holiday version. I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing actual regular Infected coming to the game soon, and I hope it plays better than that holiday version of Infected, because I just wasn't really a big fan of how that played out. The balance between the Infected players and the survivors was completely out of whack in that. And there we go. That's just a recap of all of the things that have been confirmed that we can definitely expect to see throughout the rest of Season 1. Now let's move on to some of the things I'm really hoping to see once the developers really get back into the swing of things and we get our initial patches coming off of the holidays. These are mainly just like the big things that I feel have been kind of holding the game back throughout the holiday season. And number one on my list, this is a huge one, is the spawns. Now, for those of you guys that missed it, a couple weeks ago, I made a video talking about how it seemed the spawns got worse in this game. Like in Domination especially, I noticed a drastic difference in how the spawns were behaving. They weren't anchoring to the flags that you hold nearly as much. We were seeing a whole lot more mid-map spawns and just really nonsensical spawns that made it suddenly very difficult to read the flow of a match. And I'll admit, since that happened, my interest in this game has dropped off significantly. It doesn't play the same anymore at all compared to how it was playing before that happened. And so this is actually the big thing that's been holding me back from really grinding this game out throughout the holiday season. I just haven't really been enjoying the game nearly as much as I did when the spawns were working properly. And just a little update on this, I did have a dev reach out just before that video went live because I had tweeted about how I felt the spawns have changed. And apparently they didn't actually make any intentional changes to the spawns. But now that I've had more time to play since making that video, something definitely changed with the spawns at some point. And I do believe this is just some sort of an unintended bug that screwed something up with their spawn system. And as a result, I'm really hoping this is something that they can revert just back to how it was previously, at least for Domination, because the pre-patch Domination spawns were in a significantly better state. They weren't absolutely flawless, they weren't perfect, but the general logic actually made sense, and the general flow of the maps was far better before whatever changed a couple weeks back. So that's honestly by far #1 on my list right now. I really hope they can get those spawns back into a good place so I can really enjoy the game at the same level again, because it just hasn't been the same. As for the next thing that I'm hoping to see, and we can expect to see, I should say, is the developers talking a little bit more about the matchmaking. This is something where right around the beginning of Season 1, they released this statement here, basically just saying that in the coming weeks after Season 1 launches, they'll make matchmaking a part of their ongoing discussions with the community. And it's been 4 weeks since they made that statement, although there's still more of Season 1 to go. They didn't say exactly how many weeks or anything, but they did mention throughout Season 1, so I fully expect at least something from the developers that will go into a little more detail when it comes to matchmaking. At this stage, I honestly don't know what to expect. I don't know if they're going to be making any changes, or if maybe they're just going to share some data and insights with us and say, this is why we use the matchmaking system we use. In either case, I'm definitely eagerly awaiting what they've got for us when it comes to this, even though I'm also just trying to keep my expectations low here. One thing I will say is the matchmaking definitely has felt different throughout the holiday season, and it almost seems like they may be doing a little bit of A/B testing with the matchmaking in the background and have been doing that for a little while. Perhaps I'm off on that, but it definitely seems like things have been a little bit different, or maybe it's just certain playlists have been different. I've noticed with the Hangover 24/7 playlist, for instance, in my experience, it felt like there was basically zero skill-based matchmaking in that whatsoever. Like, it seemed like true randomized matchmaking, whereas other game modes felt very different. So I don't really know what's going on with this. All I know is we should be hearing something regarding their matchmaking at some point before the end of Season 1. After that, when it comes to some of my hopes, once the developers really get back into the swing of things, this is the tier aftermarket part. I hope they can fix this because it's still completely unavailable. Nobody can use it at this stage. I'm very interested in checking it out and doing a video on it and sharing some stats with you guys, but I can't do that until it becomes available, which it currently isn't, even if you've unlocked it. And then finally, when it comes to my primary issues with the game, I've just got to say there's still plenty of room for weapon balancing and maybe some perk adjustments here or there. I definitely think some of the perks could be brought up a little bit, and that gap between the best guns and the worst guns could probably be shrunk a fair amount right now. I'm hoping they end up buffing the weaker guns rather than heavily nerfing the good guns. But that's basically just where we're at right now with this game. It's been a pretty dry few weeks of the game in my experience. That's just primarily due to what they did to the spawns. Like I said, that just really hampered my interest in the game throughout the holiday season. And like I said, I don't really expect any major changes throughout the holidays. This is something we've learned over the years, and it just makes sense. The developers, of course, are humans too. They deserve their holidays. I'm sure they had a crazy crunch period leading up to launch. And therefore, of course, I'm very forgiving when it comes to nothing really changing over the holidays. That's just fully expected at this point, and I think that's totally fine. But now that the holidays are over, I'm just looking toward the future and hoping we see some key changes and fixes here. Because honestly, I just want to see the game get back on track, because I felt like they had a really good base and things were playing quite well up until the spawns basically just fell apart. And with that, this is where I'm curious to hear from you guys in those comments down below. What are some of the key changes or adjustments that you're hoping to see after the holiday season here throughout the rest of Season 1? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.